Well, hello again to all of you super fine and wonderful people on this very humid episode of Weird My Newsroom. My name is Sam, and of course I'll be taking you through all the forms of all new releases, trailers, and news stories that you may have missed from this week. But let's not waste too much time on all forms of introductions. Let's get talking all things media that we do have in particular for this week.
Yeah, but the hose!
On the first of our new releases this week is one of the big summer blockbusters that have made their presence known from the focus of a galaxy far, far away, and where we will be in the focus of perspective of those heroes who are usually seen on the small screen have made their way to the big screen presence for the first time in 7 years. It only seemed overall that this was the way to do so, as the Beskar Steel bounty hunter and his small powerful apprentice are on the big screen adventures as we have the release of the all-new film of The Mandalorian and Grogu. Now the film will follow on from the events of Season 3's conclusion with the New Republic enlisting Din Djarin and his apprentice Grogu to take on a job following the fall of the Galactic Empire, take down some of the reigning Imperial warlords that still threaten the galaxy. The reception this new film has taken on the series has been a bit more mixed to some modest reception with praise and its more return to form close to the first season of the series, the performances and adventure that may be a bit for the family, though most issues mainly seem to be aimed towards a film that feels a little lacking in spectacle that a Star Wars film is usually seen, and some complain about having weak dialogue and other forms. But I mean, it's kind of Star Wars, dialogue was always going to be a bit of a nod, and some are never happy with much new big releases lately anyway, but I see this being something that you can enjoy and have a fun little watch while watching it in the cinema. And if you want to check it out for yourself, you can also catch this film out now in cinemas. On the side of one horror-based focus for this week, we have heard the aspect and concept of the horrors that some road trips and journeys late into the night could take, where things may seem like many times can appeal and be a smooth traveling journey, but there is a number that experience some nightmares in focus of what they may find or who they meet on those travels, and this may show that will occur from those that may not return, as we have the release of the all-new film known simply as Passenger. Now, the film will see a young couple who on a few weeks into their van life adventure will bear witness to an accident that leaves the driver dead. Soon they begin to be pursued by a demonic stalker who's impossible to outrun and follows them whenever they go. The reception of this new film has been a bit mixed to underwhelming in the reception side of things, that while the concept feels a bit more real in tone from the horrors of road trips, the film underwhelms the lack of appeal and originality and the lack of real scares from the stuff we have seen before. But if you want to see the road journey from hell, you can catch this film also out now in cinemas. So this first of the 3 TV shows from this week is one that I had somehow overlooked from last week, like The Fool I Am, where this may be seen as the show that had an overall conclusion. You know, well, so the conclusion! It looks like there's a fair amount of other stories that have been lost amongst the chores of the massive park, as it looks like some more new misadventures with Mordecai Rigby and the others are back, as we have released the all-new series of regular show The Lost Tapes. The new series will follow the unseen misadventures of Mordecai Rigby and the other members of the park, including Benson, Pops, Muscle Man, Skips, and High Five Ghost, in some unseen stories from the park found from the tapes Pops discovers in the afterlife, including taking out the trash without use of wheels, finding a new appealing snack for a party, changing the culinary scene, and a whole lot more. The reception's new take on the series seems to be as positive as the original would appeal to the animation, humor, and the charm still present after nearly a decade off the air. If you want to see more new misadventures, you can catch these first episodes now on HBO Max. As for the other TV show for this week is one I am all for wondering, was this necessary to be made? No. But Sam, I may hear some of you ask, it's an animated show, you love animation, this should appeal, and normally it would be. But when it's essentially a sequel spin-out to a Netflix anime series that went on for way too long, cancelled other good shows for that to continue, and was a series that essentially bordered on where it felt like it should be on a registry, because it looks like that was sense of horned up things is jumping from prepubescent teens to the animal kingdom, as we have a new series from the creators of Big Mouth with a new show of mating season. Now this new show follows a quartet of frisky woodland animals, a bear, raccoon, a deer, and a fox, as they navigate the chaotic, highly hormonal, and often absurd realities of love, lust, and relationships during a busy forest mating season. The reception of this new series seems to be mixed compared to the original show from the creators, that while the concept makes sense on paper, the execution is a lot more messy in terms of lacking in a lot of heart, jokes not always landing, and the animation feeling way too simple and basic, making me wonder who asked for an animal version of Big Mouth. But if you want to watch it for yourself, you can catch the series now on Netflix. There is one more TV show that would slip my mind for a moment, but it looks like we are moving away from an animated and more to the element of sci-fi, where the gates of some old timers looking to have a peaceful place for the last few years are about to have the most possibly otherworldly wake-up call, as we have the second new project developed by the Duffer Brothers post Stranger Things with the release of the new series of The Burrows. The series will be set in a picturesque retirement community where we will follow a group of unlikely heroes who must band together to stop an otherworldly threat from stealing the one thing this group does not have too much of yet, and that is with time. The reception of this new series seems to be very well received, with praise on its concept, its all-star cast, visuals, and narrative, and seeing that the elements of the supernatural and sci-fi are still present from these creators. If you want to discover the secrets of this neighborhood, you can watch this full series now on Netflix. For the first of the video game releases, it looks like we have the focus of a lot of big action games or something that could be a lot for people, and sometimes a more simple and cozy game could be well needed and even have a sense of learning something about on the way. As we head back to the colorful worlds of Nintendo and to that adorable little dinosaur for our newest title of learning the secrets of the encyclopedia, as we have the release of the new game of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. In the game will see you play as the iconic dinosaur as he enters a living encyclopedia where he will search for and interact with all these creatures of the book's pages in order to solve puzzles, complete objectives, and traverse across mysterious levels. The reception of this new title seems to have some decent appeal with praise in the visual art style, its unique approach and gameplay, and for some fun and lighthearted adventures with everyone's favorite colorful dinosaur, even if some feel the gameplay may be a little bit too easy in some regards of things. But if you're up for a fun new learning adventure, and you can play this new title now on Nintendo Switch too. As for our second game for this week, we'll be in the focus of returning to a world of superheroes and adventure, where we have seen many forms of this Caped Crusader, but this time we will see the legend in all new form, built from the ground up brick by brick, as we have the returning to this mixed media adventure with the release of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Now in this new entry that is somewhat of its own separate canonicity to the Lego Batman IP trilogy, you will once again take on the mantle of the Batman, explore across the vast Gotham City, partake in combat seemingly inspired by the Arkham games, and play through a new story inspired by a selection of films, comics, shows, and games of the world's greatest detective. Now reception of this new Lego title has been very well received with praise in the gameplay, open world, narrative, visuals, and for being a proper love letter to all forms of Batman media across the last 85 plus years. And if you're up for the new adventures and becoming the knight, you can grab the cowl and play the new title now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S and PC, with a Switch 2 version coming out sometime later this year. Our third game of this week is time to rev up the engines, pick your nicest vehicle, and prepare to take in the sights as one of the most popular car sim race series is back for a new location and selection of cars to choose from, as we have the release of the 6th entry of the Forza Horizon series. With this new title, you will be finding yourself driving in high concept cars of all types as you race across the most detailed form of Tokyo and explore the land and how you see fit. Their reception, of course, on this new entry of the series is very well received with praise and selection of vehicles, the driving mechanics, and being improved every entry, and for the visual flair of the lands to explore of a photorealistic Tokyo. And it seems like it's possibly another Game of the Year contender in this regards of things. If you want to race across the lands for yourself, then you can play this title now on Xbox Series X and S and PC, with a PS5 version coming in sometime later this year. And as for our last new release this week is a return to a gaming mascot that has had a well-known, if not infamous, presence across multiple generations and platforms. And I'm sure with the concept about some all-new adventures in focus, I must ask, what could possibly go wrong? As everyone's favorite Bobcat is back for another adventure, as we have the release of the all-new title of Bubsy 4D. Then a new title will see the Bobcat, voiced by Sean Chiplock or Kinger from TIDC, go on a mission to stop their long arch enemy of the Woolies, who have decided to steal the planet's sheep population to create their own version of the Golden Fleece. And soon they return using the Woolies technology to obtain it for themselves. And soon you will find a head on a journey across vast planets to stop this over-elaborate scheme, retrieve the Golden Fleece once again, and save the day. Now reception on this new title of the series is a mix to modest as best, with praise in the gameplay and animation, and for them not taking itself serious and being self-deprecating to themselves. Now some of the usual fare is maybe the length of the title and the series repetition may have affected it a little bit in that regards. But if you're up for a new platforming adventure, you can play this now on PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, Switch 1 and 2, and PC. And with all that regards, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
And this is what she would want.
Our new trailers for this week will all focus in the realm of TV shows, and the first one is All Superhero Affair, as it looks like some members of the Corps will be showing their presence that being trained to learn the powers of light will prove its benefit for the future of heroes and for the Corps itself, as we have the all-new trailer for the upcoming new series of Lanterns. In a series of follow members of the Lantern Corps, a group of heroes and intergalactic peacekeepers given extraordinary powers from powerful rings. And this will follow two of these members of experienced Lantern Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler, and new recruit John Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre, as they are tasked to investigate murder in a small town in Nebraska, which soon leads them to darker mysteries and reckonings. Now it seems that the focus of this new trailer for that the opinion and outcome of the project has definitely changed in a more positive approach, given that the show is more of the use of powers and the color green, which seemed to be an issue of the first trailer. But overall, I like both of those trailers massively, and I feel it has the appeal in the case of the concept of expanding all the cosmic protectors that have not had much of a presence since the 2011 disaster of a film or animated project so far has an interest. I hope we expand beyond the Green Lantern Corps to see some other forms and color variations of this corporations. I feel it's best not just jump on the hate bandwagon straight away and give some hope for appeal. But I'm sure we will see it all in due time when the Lantern Light shines on the HBO Max on the 16th of August. On the second of the trailers this week, we'll see the many variations of the elements to be set in focus and the journey to master them more and more across the lands to fight the nation of flames. We'll see this journey continue and see the ground shake this time around and turn the tide of this growing conflict, as it will be timed for the release of the second trailer for the upcoming second season to Netflix's take on Avatar: The Last Airbender. In a new show, we'll see the follow-on for the events of the bittersweet victory saving the Northern Water Tribe from the invading Fire Nation. We'll see Aang, Katara, and Sokka regroup and set off on a mission to convince the elusive Earth King to aid in their battle against the fearsome Fire Lord of Ozai. I can say that the likes of the franchise of Avatar has had quite the hectic few weeks, from the mixed opinion on the retelling of the series in live action to the mess of the new film being leaked online months in advance by employee accidentally sending it to someone, and it just seems like the series with so much love and fan base that having a mixed opinion as of late has been underwhelming, something I will discuss in a news section about something in particular. Now personally, I think this doesn't look too bad, and it has worked for the best they could with this material, and personally it looks pretty solid in that regards. I know it's no animated masterwork for the original was, but I'll give it a chance, even if I feel the sudden age jump for Aang looks very odd and how the storyline goes in this regards of things, but I'm sure we can see on the outcome of this whole ordeal with the new season releasing in just about a month's time on the 26th of June. And for the final trailer for this week is one I was expecting was going to be another week or two before this would be unveiled onto the internet, given I would expect they want to focus on the big bad finale of the original series for this. And to give my quick opinions on that one, I like the ending of it, and I think some are getting a bit overblown saying it's one of the worst finales when there is a much worse, and personally it was a good final season personally to me. But after being unveiled in the theatrical release in the States of the finale, and to avoid people watching it from a camera phone quality, it's time to go to the past of Heroes, where the sense of heroes and villains is more of a morally grey area in this context, but we will see which some of these familiar names begin their heroics, as we have the release of the trailer for the second spin-off to The Boys with Vought Rising. The series will follow on a form of the twisted murder mystery by the origins of Vought in the 1950s, and will see and follow the early exploits of Soldier Boy and the diabolical maneuvers of Stormfront. So it has been quite the concept. I am sure if the likes of the spin-off will work well in the regards of the genre, and with the appeal of the main series and spin-offs being a bit more of a mixed bag as of late. Personally, I think from the footage it does look like decent. It gives me a more messed up formatting of the original Captain America film, with a lot more bloodshed, violence and debauchery. It just seems like it could be something well worth a watch, and see some elements that were teased throughout the show, maybe the comics, but I'm sure we'll see that line, because this would be what Clara would have wanted. Now there's no set release date for this project as of yet, but this project will be unleashed onto Prime Video sometime in 2027. With all that regards now, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
This is the boopinest game I've ever played!
Now this week may have a little less in content, but it still has a week of the usual platter of choice in the hodgepodge collection of media stories that vary in focus from the odd dates, project announcements, and other forms of stories that you might have this week about important announcements in that regard to things, but I'm sure we get to that and when we come along. So let's see what we have in focus in this particular instance. So this isn't really a story, but it's mainly not in the form of a project announcement, but more of a PSA to be careful out there, as unfortunately the unfortunate has occurred with one of the most internet's biggest indie animations seeing something bad happen to it this week, and the response from the fandom is honestly very disappointing to see. To better explain, earlier this week on Tuesday or Wednesday, it would have appeared that the finale to the Amazing Digital Circus had apparently been leaked online from a Brazilian dub of the episode, where initially it was reported to be just clips and then the entire episode, that has now been put all over Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, and I believe Instagram. This has seen a fair few to have the episode spoiled in advance, and many have either refunded their tickets to watch in the cinema or else some other forms have occurred, and in this regard, some of the responses from some of these fans have been very more than disappointing. Now the creator of Gooseworks has come out with a response that I see as being perfectly reasonable, valid in the response by them, in the likes of being disappointed and all this was a mess, and everyone praising that it was leaked has essentially caused them to become exhausted to the industry, and it breaks my heart because it really seems from any point of marketing or just stuff they have appeared in, he seemed like a really lovely person. People making complaints and praising its downfall just because they decide to help boost indie animation for getting a limited theatrical release, similar to the recent or big show finales of other streaming services, or mad they had to pay for it when they were only need to wait another 2 weeks to check it out, or else the option will be release it early in cinemas and then drop it on like the Monday or Sunday of that weekend, or move the release by a week in regards to things. Now as of writing, I've not been spoiled or have seen anything, and if there's a case that someone tries to spoil it in the comments, that I will have no choice but to delete the comment or else have comments turned off for this video until around the 19th of June. Now I will also say it was well this and any aspect about not wanting to be negative on this channel, but if you're praising the leaker for spoiling the finale and releasing it early and then pointing blame at the creator, then for shame on to you for doing so. I feel it for the artists, the creators, the voice actors, and everyone involved in this production, and for the time being, I will be making sure to watch it with my friends and others in the cinema to support it. I'll also be watching it and support it when it comes out, as well for reviews for the series as a whole on YouTube. And think in this case of it being, you had to put so much time and effort into something. Just put yourself in that scenario. Put yourself in a scenario that you've spent so much time and effort onto something, and you're proud of it, and then someone leaks in advance and people are not a fan, they start to blame you for the downfall. You'd feel underwhelmed, you'd feel disappointed in yourself, and you'd feel disappointed in the community you'd helped build over time, that they just suddenly turn on you like that. And just imagine how it feels next time something like this happens, and don't hate on the creative, hate on those that want to ruin the experience for others. Now in some regards case, I will probably talk on this in another video concept I have in mind about the ordeal of what happened to having fun watching something, because everything is so negative, and some other elements with this included in the future, but just try and do better. Don't harass the creator who is just as disappointed in his outcome as many of you are, and don't praise for stuff like this to happen because it's really unnecessary. In overall regards of things, just don't be a dick and don't spoil in the comments for people. People are waiting now to go see it in cinemas or watch it on YouTube. Just don't ruin it for people. Sorry about that rant, but I need to get out my thoughts on it. But let's now actually move to the focus of some project announcements and stories. And the first one will be a case that even in the likes of this series coming back for an all new collection of misadventures at the end of this week, it seems that there's still some big plans for these two mismatched relations. As they announced with the release of the upcoming 9th season, it was confirmed this week that a full feature-length movie based on Rick and Morty is currently in the works at Warner Bros., with the project being directed by Jacob Hare, who has directed a fair few episodes of the show, mainly I think it's like the 4th season or something like that, and confirmed by the remaining creator of the show of Dan Harmon. Now the likes of his film I could see working and having a bit of an approach of what the likes of The Simpsons or Bob's Burgers had, which was getting a bit of an upgrade in visual quality for the one film and animation, and for giving a big base plot and focus of Child Geo and the rest of the Smith family. Now the biggest questions that I have with this would be, one, if the film will be a sort of a bridge between two seasons, or possibly as a finale or epilogue to the show overall, and the other question from this was, there's still a sense of an audience for it, as I know that there is a fan base to it still, but if people will come back around for this project, because people start to slowly kind of become disillusioned by this series over time after like certain points, and then the original creator having to leave and they recast in the cast and stuff with that regards of things, but there is a whole other variations of things, but we'll have to see if it will be worth to see it or seems a bit of a lost cause. Now personally, I'll give it some chance. I do tune into the series still, and I'm sure we will see what will come of this project, and if it helps to wrap up some big questions of the show still left unanswered. But at the moment, there is no set release date or when we will see this on the big screen, but if I hear anything about this regards, I'll update in a later episode in that particular instance. The final project announcement of focus for this week will be one video game announcement, and it seems the concept of one of the most acclaimed titles of recent memory will be taking a page of some of the most beloved novel series in history, and soon you will have the ability to explore this vast world and how you see fit. As was announced this week that the studio of Warhorse Studios, the company behind the acclaimed Kingdom Come Deliverance titles, have announced that yes, another entry in the series is on the way. We'll also be developing a new open world RPG based on the world of Middle-earth. Now for a bit of time I thought a planned Lord of the Rings RPG had been in development and then was like recently scrapped from recent memory, but initially I thought it was this, but it looks like it must have been a different entry or project altogether that was planned before things were scrapped. Now the ideas of the studio making a Middle-earth RPG sounds very ambitious, but they have proven their craft for a high-based medieval world setting, and I am sure the adaptation of Tolkien's work is more than enough to appease in this situation. I hold out hope that this will work out well. Now at the moment, in case of things, this might be just early days, and the ideas of when we will see this first look at the title or when we can expect a new game is unclear right now, but once I hear anything about this at all, I'll provide that in a later episode. On the casting side of things, a bit more of a weird fluctuation this week, as the focus mainly on the side of some good new casting and projects and concepts, as we've seen that all forms of these iconic figures and characters of the past have seen their transition to the modern day in some form. One of them has had a bit of a quiet period of being left in the past, but it seems like it's time for this original piece of eye candy to be making their presence in the modern day, and for their time to shine. As announced this week, the new film based on the popular character of Betty Boop is in the works, and they have already had their Betty in mind, and that's with Abbott Elementary creator and star Quinta Brunson, who will also be developing the project. start. Now, the film is set to be a story about the developing relationship with the creation of Fleischer studio head Max Fleischer. Now, this character took on a life of its own and will be the first theatrical release of the character, whose last big screen presence was in the 1930s. Well, this, and also unless you want to count the really low budget horror film being made about this character. But now, I know there will be someone that's be quick to complain about the possible race swap of the character, but it's a case that the original character was based on a black singer from Harlem known as Baby Esther, and there was created something special. And personally, I'm fine with seeing this project come together, and I can see Brunson make something worthwhile, and may have said that she has the looks of the character, so what better approach to go with this project? Now, I'm unsure when this will be a live action, animated, or mixed media project, or when we can expect to see this project get a release in the future, but once you hear anything about this at all, I'll find out later episode 2. As for the other two stories, these are mainly in the case of some casting changes and shakeups, and this first one is one of series I've said a few times and time again feels unnecessary, and in this case it looks like we've already seen some changes being done to the upcoming TV adaptation of Harry Potter. Now, this is not with any of the core trio of professors, but rather just with one of the supporting cast. It looks like one of the Weasley household is now short one member for the moment. As announced on Wednesday this week, that the actress of Gracie Cochran has announced that she is stepping away from the role of Ginny Weasley following the release of the first season, and will be recast for the recently renewed second season in this regards of things. Now, the reasons for her departure is unknown, but it seems the response from both parties have emphasized it was due to unforeseen circumstances, but kept very vague as to what, which could be a possible family emergency, a passing, or else maybe it was to avoid some possible backlash and trauma for some new and returning fans by being in this new reboot, but it's really hard to say what will come up to it. Now, I know for the case that Ginny's role in the first season is a very minor one compared to some of her brothers in this novel, but she has more of a prominent figure in later novels, especially for elements of book 2, so likely they will be well underway right now to find a replacement before they start filming in the fall. Now, do I see other cast members following the same form? I have no idea. They could see this, but right now, nothing has been set in stone as of yet and who will be replacing her, but I'm sure we'll see what comes of it in due time, and if there's anything new, I'll try and let you know. The last bit of casting focus has come in the form of an end of this week, and a whole outcome has been a sudden and surprising one, but it looks like a popular series may have lost some heavy-hitting star power. As announced on Friday, the actor Tom Hardy was fired from the TV series of Mobland and will not be returning for the planned third season, with the news coming in as season 2 had just wrapped production. Now, the reason as to why he was let go was apparently to do with the actor clashing with the production team, as it seems he was a bit infrequent at being on time for filming, clashed with the creators and producers, and caused a fair amount of an uneasy environment, and it seemed like they had made the decision to cut him out of the series. Now, in the likes of something like this is a very rare occurrence, as most times with a sudden change to a series and character, more often than not it's with an actor leaving the production on their own accord, or having to write off a character due to some allegations made to them, or some unfortunate passings, and trying to find a way to explain their absence. Like Chance Perdomo in Gen V Season 2, who passed away before the show started, or the very disrespectful way they did to Angus Cloud in Euphoria's final season. We'll have to be seen how they will deal with this shakeup for the cast, and whatever they will recast, kill off the character, or end the series with the second season. For now, we will have to see what will come of all this, but once you hear anything about this, I'll provide in a later episode as well. But what do you make of these stories? Do you think the leak was unjustified? Will you be checking out the Rick and Morty film when it releases, and do you see it as a series epilogue? Will you be playing the new Middle Earth game from the Kingdom Come developers, and will it be a success? What are your thoughts on the Betty Boop film, and what style will it go for? What do you think the reason for the actress to leave the Harry Potter adaptation is, and do you see the firing of Hardy cause a proper knock-on effect for that series? Let me know what you think of all these down below. In that regards, that's all the news we do have for this week.
Sprite.
And now the case with all that regards, it ends episode 157 of Weird My Newsroom, and I hope you enjoy my ramblings for probably around a half an hour. Now I'm going to try and fly through this because it's very late and I'm also very warm. It's very hot today. Anyways, reviews wise in this regards of things, I'm currently about to just finished with the Last of Us review in this regards of things. I'm just well deep into the episode writings, and then I'm going to get that and conclusions. The episode 1 is taking a long of discussion, and I want to do at least episode 3 and maybe 7 just to give them an extension, but the other ones I'll probably keep short in regards of things. Maybe 1 or 2 I'll see down the line, but who knows regards of things. Then other stuff like snack size box office ones are coming, more genre stuff. I probably might start with the Digital Circus one first off after this, and just try and write a fair bit before episode 9 comes. There's at least that by the time the episode releases I can just write that and then record it and all that stuff, but we'll see in this regards of things. And other variations in genres like film, TV, gaming, music, all those other variations will come, so look forward to those and all different links. Gameplay wise and stuff, I'm going to try and get back to do a little more streaming. I kind of was a bit all over the place this week to properly stream and stuff, but I'll probably get back to do that. I'm probably going to do some bits and pieces of streaming yards of things, more Tomodachi Life. I'll get back to Donkey Bonanza, Star Wars Outlaws, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, start some new games like Ventile, start like Alan Wake, maybe some CODs or Atomic Heart and all those different things, but there's a few different games I'm going to start down the line, so look forward to those in particular. In the case of long form stuff as well, anticipated media will be coming, AI Iron's Choice video will be coming, the rewatch fun's coming, the Harmless War is coming, more time-lapse builds is coming, and other streams and VODs and everything like that are all coming along as well, so look forward to those when they do drop. And I may have to re-record Resident Evil Requiem in case of things, because some of the VODs disappeared on me, and I was gonna just like download them and upload them onto YouTube, but I have a few. I have like 1 or 2 bits, and I have like the ending, but I'm gonna try and do the bits in between, maybe just like an off-camera recording stuff, but we'll see. But that regards to things, on the episode there for now. So if you'd like to see here, want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. I upload new stuff every single week. I'm aiming for 750 to 1,000 subs by this year, so any support is greatly appreciated. If you want to get yourself 10% off pure crack, just use my code Sam Harrison. That's all one word, no caps, and all the regards to things. Yeah, I just appreciate every support, all the support from like any views, likes, comments, subs, and everything of that regards to things. Just hopefully we can keep it positive and keep supporting the regards to things in the comments instead of just, you know, all coming in to start posting spoilers, because that would not be great. But let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week from new releases, trailers, and news stories discussed in this regards to stuff, but we can see how it goes. But as always, I hope you all stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, do many great things, and keep being you because no one else do what you do, and take care of yourself because mental health is very important. And keep yourself warm, and keep yourself cooled out today because it's very warm where I am. I'll leave there for now. So as always, I've been your host Sam, of course. And I'll see you on the next episode. I'm gonna go to bed. So take care, and I'll see you later.